Well, guys, we've been checking in with airport officials minute by minute. We do know that the two people who died in this plane crash were the only ones on board. No survivors in this crash. I'm going to give you a look at the scene. We've gotten a little bit of a closer vantage point since we last checked in. You can see all of the emergency crews that have gathered here. They were trying to actually get to that plane that had gone over the hillside. I'm told that there were crews working from the top of the hill as well as the bottom of the hill trying to get to that plane. Unfortunately, when they got there, they realized that both the co-pilot and the pilot in that plane crash had died. This was an air cargo carrier plane. The model is a C-30 model, and it was coming from Louisville around 6 a.m. I'm told that it actually hit the runway, that the wing hit the runway, and then it went over the hillside. And I'm also told that there was no indication prior to the crash that anything had been going wrong. They had been communicating with air traffic control, and the Yeager spokesperson, Mike Plant, tells me prior to the crash there was no indication that anything was going wrong. So now what they're going to be doing in it is bringing in the NTSB, trying to figure out exactly what happened in this crash. Of course, they'll be going through all of that, all of the rubble from the crash, trying to figure out what happened. And we right now have no idea when the airport is expected to reopen. In fact, the spokesperson tells us that he has no idea either. Their main concern right now is just trying to figure out what happened, get this site cleared, notify the families. Of course, we are not releasing the names of the two people who died until the families have been notified. And there's no indication right now if these people were from Louisville or if they were from here or where they were from. We just know that that plane was coming from Louisville. Guys, of course, as we learn any new information, we'll keep you posted on WSAZ Mobile and WSAZ.com. But that's all for now. Back to you. I understand that we're still live on Facebook. Is that correct? Okay. All right. Hi, Facebook. I'm going to give you all a brief update. I was told that we are still streaming live over on our Facebook page. If you're just tuning in, I'm live at Yeager Airport. We just moved locations. We're actually a little bit closer to that crash site. We're told that a plane crashed here on the runway and then went over the hillside. I'm going to take this out so I can hear you all a little better. And we're trying to get some more information about what exactly led to this. But of course, that's what emergency crews are doing right now as well. This is the first time there's been a fatal plane crash here since March of 2016. So just a little bit over a year since there's been a fatal crash here at Yeager Airport. This plane was coming from Louisville. We're told it came in the 6 a.m. hour and that this was a routine flight. They would come in frequently. There's no word if this was every day or every week, but airport officials tell us this was a routine flight that would come in frequently, and they are not releasing the name of the pilot or co-pilot who died in this crash. They are telling us that there were no survivors. They were the only two people on board. And the problem with trying to get to these people is that it's over that wooded area that you see if you look just beyond the emergency crews. That wooded area is where that plane is now over the hillside. We aren't sure how far down it is, but you can see just the response that came as a result of this crash. If you live in Charleston, all morning you could hear all of the sirens trying to get to this area and trying to get to those two people who were inside the plane crash. They did not make any communication with them after the plane crash, so we don't know right now if they were killed on impact or if something with the plane, they just couldn't make communication with them. But we are trying to learn the latest. I'm going to keep you guys posted. We'll leave up this live stream for you, and I'll actually step behind the camera and try to give you a closer look at some of those emergency crews. Give me 1 second. I'm going to put the microphone down so you won't hear any audio. So that is a little bit of what the scene looks like. Again, I'm on the roof of Yeager Airport in Charleston. We have learned that 2 people have died as a result of a cargo plane crash. It was a routine flight that came in here. Both the co-pilot and the pilot in this crash have died. We're not learning any names right now. It's too soon for all of that, too soon to learn what exactly happened. But emergency crews here have called this a level 3 response, and they're also saying that the Yeager Airport is in a state of emergency. There's no word on when the airport is going to reopen to regular traffic. We've been checking in with officials trying to figure out when that could be. At this time, there's no word. We heard later today. We heard in a few days. So it's going to be a very developing situation. As soon as we hear word, I know there are people that are trying to board other flights this afternoon and this evening. As soon as we receive word about when the airport could reopen, we'll be sure to keep you posted, guys. But that's all for now. We'll leave a shot up of the scene, but I'm going to go check in with airport officials again so we can have some updated information in the next half hour.
caution tape is stretched from one fire truck to another here at Yeager Airport on this Friday morning. They cordoned off the crash scene where a cargo plane crashed early this morning, claiming the life of the pilot and the co-pilot. Sorry, here we go. 3, 2, 1. About 100 feet of yellow caution tape is now stretched from one fire truck to another fire truck at Yeager Airport. They cordoned off the crash scene where early this morning a cargo plane flying to Yeager from Louisville crashed going off the runway, and that crash claimed 2 lives, the pilot and the co-pilot. They were the only people on board. Right now, Yeager Airport remains closed. The National Transportation Safety Board has been called to the scene. Live from Yeager Airport. From Yeager Airport, I'm Jeff Jenkins, WVMetroNews.com. From Yeager Airport, I'm Jeff Jenkins, 580 WCHS. Here we go, 3, 2, 1. It's a bright sunny day at Yeager Airport in Charleston. Normally this would be a perfect day for flying, but right now it's a crash scene investigation. After a cargo plane flying into Yeager, a contractor for UPS, crashed this morning on the approach to the airport flying in from Louisville, Kentucky, claiming the lives of both the pilot and the co-pilot. The plane, one wing, hit down hard and then it skidded off the runway into a heavily wooded area. It took crews about 1 hour to reach the crash scene. They've done that now, confirmed the 2 deaths, and now waiting for the National Transportation Safety Board to arrive to begin the investigation. From Yeager Airport, I'm Jeff Jenkins, WVMetroNews.com. From Yeager, I'm Jeff Jenkins, 580 WCHS. over my head to get a sunburn out here. Get a still shot from that thing? Yes, Mayor. We'll move locations now, so we're a little bit closer to the crash scene. I'm on the observation deck at Yeager, just off of the conference room here at the airport. Earlier, we were on top of the parking garage. So they've allowed us to get a little closer. And I can tell you now that we have a little better idea where the crash scene is. It's over the hill, over the hill toward Interstate 79. So if you're coming down Interstate 79, Meek Shoals exit, and you're coming down that final long curve there, you can look up on the hill, and that's where the crash scene is. And it's a heavily canopy, wooded area, so you may not be able to see a lot from there. But what they've done now, Mayor, they've stretched out about 200, 300 feet of yellow caution tape at the edge of the runway there on the right-hand side. And then you see, some emergency vehicles between there and where it goes over the steep embankment. So that's where the plane crashed, and that's where the two cargo members lost their lives earlier today. Then this crash was about 7 minutes before 7 o'clock. Air Cargo Carriers is the company that contracts with UPS and makes these flights several times a week into Yeager, bringing packages into Yeager, and we don't know what caused the crash. Now, we have received some information there from West Virginia American Water Company because fuel from the crash could possibly reach the Elk River, because it's all in that same area that we're very familiar with. And so the Elk is right below there, so they're monitoring the river there to make sure that nothing will get in the river that would compromise the water system plant just about a mile or so down the road from where this crash site is up on the hill. So that's the latest now. Yeah. It is leaking, we understand. A spill report has been made to the state DEP. And so Western American said they have their analysts right on the river up there and monitoring to see if, because it's pretty far up the hillside, so if and when it would make it to the river, what capacity that would be or how much that would be. So they put out some information saying that they're on it, looking at it. Go ahead. Well, we don't know if there was a fire initially. They haven't really confirmed that with us yet. And again, I can't see over the other side of the hill, so I don't really know got to leave the crash site in some way kind of protected, because there's going to be an investigation. So we can't compromise a lot of the things at the crash site, like if they start picking up like debris or anything like that, because that's going to impact the investigation. Yeah, most of the time they do.
Hey, Jeff.
I've worked with the.
They're maybe giving some more
Okay,
information.
looks like we're going to get some more information here, man. But hopefully, it looks like we're going to bring that in. Okay? Okay. Thanks.
We'll just have to be live in here then.
For who?
The weather was calm, the weather does not appear to be hot. The runway absolutely does not appear to be hot. Okay?
Is that the wing I see? Is that the wing?
They're giving us an update. I can still do it.
Brett went to get my hairbrush in my phone drawer. Huh? No, it's okay. I got it. I swear I know.
Ben, are you coming over? Or Ben, you coming over here?
Thank you. If you guys can hear me, I'm going to toss to the VO. We're getting an update from officials right now.
Hang on, I'm sorry. You get in there.
And then we'll probably just have to go off tripod and
Good.
we'll toss to the VO.
Get this off the.
Get my phone.
Whenever they toss to me, if he's still going, we'll just have to.
Hey. Eric,
Kent's gonna call in for Danny's show.
he's going to call in.
Yeah, just invite, just a minute.
I'm going to try to get this too, okay? Can we put this on live?
Well, then I don't need to call in.
Well, no, you have to record. Just put me on as a call. Okay? Okay, tell him we got Terry Sayre.
Kent, why don't you come over here? Then?
Hey, I'm about to do an interview and I'm on my IFB on the other.
Take me as a call.
Sorry.
Yeah, just tell him to take me as a call, and then I'll introduce these guys and we'll get going.
No, that's all right. Thank you
Okay.
for taking the position. I just,
Okay.
Commissioner, if I won't respond to this. Come on in there, Kent.
I'm in here.
You need to move over here, son.
Okay, Mayor, we're getting ready to get another update right here with Airport Director Terry Sayre and Commissioner Carper and Commissioner Solango are also here, okay? So, guys ready? We ready?
Yes.
No,
Okay,
we're
wait
not
just a
ready.
second. Yeah,
I think you're right in front of her.
we got the media here, everybody's kind of.
We are about to get an update from several county and airport officials here at Yeager Airport in Charleston. They've just arrived, so we're going to try to learn some new information from what we had a few moments ago.
We're at Yeager Airport again after the crash this morning. And just hold on just a second, Mayor. Sorry about this. Okay.
Hey, I'm about to do a live interview. Can I do it on Facebook Live?
All right.
Okay, bye.
Who's going to be speaking?
All of us.
Terry Sayre,
Probably all of us.
County Commissioner Ben Solango, County Commissioner President Kent Carper. We ready? We ready?
No, I don't think we're ready. Are we ready?
Hold that way
There
up.
we go. Okay. Trying to get all
How about
the
just hold this for you? Is that all right?
No, I can hold it. It's okay.
You good?
Okay, we're good.
We're good. We're ready? Okay, all right, here we go. Terry.
All right, ahead.
Go ahead, Terry.
You know, as you're well aware of, we had a aircraft accident here approximately 7 a.m. this morning that involved a cargo plane that apparently hit the runway, and then the wing sheared off, and then it ended up over the hill here at the airport. We're attempting to, in fact, the people in the plane have been recovered at this time and are being transported to the medical examiner's office, and our police are following up on that aspect of it. We're still waiting on FSDO to examine the debris field on the runway in order to further their investigation, and then once that's completed, we plan to make repairs to the runway and open the airport here, hopefully within the next couple of hours. That's our plans for right now.
I know you were.
What damage was done to the airport runway?
There was a few gouges. It appeared that the plane landed a little awkwardly and caused some damage to the runway.
I know you were saying that the National Transportation Safety Board is investigating, and you can't say what caused this. But can you talk to us about some of the observations you made surrounding this incident?
Yeah, the winds were calm. About 10 miles visibility. From looking at it, it looks like it may have landed a little sideways instead of level on the runway as it should have.
Terry, was there a fire?
Not at this time, no. Not that we're aware of. There's no fire. We have a diesel or the fuel leak, and that's being contained, and we made the proper notifications to the water company in case there had been an issue. But as of right now, there's been no issue with the fuel.
How often do these planes come in here? Is that daily or a few times a week?
I think 2 or 3 times a week from Louisville.
And you've been able to, I think, determine that the pilot and the co-pilot are from West Virginia?
They're based here locally out of Yeager Airport. They're badged here, and we'll wait till the family's been notified before the names could be released.
They are based out of here, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have any idea how long they've been, how much experience they have?
Not at this time, I do not.
Commissioner President Carper, you heard some observations too. Can you add anything to what Terry said?
Yes, well, when you have something like this, you understand the federal government does the actual investigation. But we've observed the airplane landing, we've observed the condition of the field, and it's obvious that this aircraft hit what they call the threshold of the landing area. So it wasn't a fault of the runway, it wasn't the fault of the weather, and it doesn't appear to be anything other than some type of a problem with the aircraft.
We are getting an update right now from airport and county officials. I'm going to let you guys listen into some of the new information they're giving us.
She heard an aircraft making a very loud noise. She's called that in, but when you look at the runway, when you look at the gouge marks, we know what the weather was, but it will be up to the FAA. It's a tragedy, but I want to commend the first responders, the program. We declared a state of emergency at about 1 minute after the airplane crashed. There was an amazing response from the city of Charleston, Kanawha County, the Air Guard, the Army Guard. The plan worked very well. Unfortunately, this was a terrible crash. The airplane obviously came in sideways, came in hot, struck the runway early on the threshold, and then rolled and went over the hill.
Was it coming in from, I want to get straight where it was it, so it went off to the left? Was it coming in this way, or which way would it be coming in?
It would have been doing an approach over the city of Charleston towards the 5 end, that 5 end of the runway. You line up downtown and then come in that way, or start down in Lincoln County sometimes on approach. So
it went over towards the interstate. That's what I call it, the interstate side.
We're going to go ahead and give you all a look at some of that video of the actual scene here at Yeager Airport. If we can go ahead and show them a look at some of that video. We do know that 2 people have died in this accident, both the co-pilot and the pilot. There are no survivors in this accident. Now, the NTSB is en route here to the airport. We're checking in right now with county officials and with airport officials, trying to figure out, get some idea of what may have been a factor in this accident. They're telling us that the initial reports are that this aircraft may have actually landed a little bit on its side. They say that visibility doesn't seem to be a factor, and they also are saying that the weather does not appear to have been a factor either. So, guys, we are working to learn the latest. Again, 2 people that died in this accident. The last time there was a fatal plane crash here at Yeager Airport was back in March in 2016, so just over a year ago, and 1 person died in that accident. They are hoping rather to have the airport and regular flights opened back up in the next couple of hours, but at this point it is still an ongoing developing story. We'll keep you posted.
Will you be releasing at all the video of this plane coming in?
No.
And the plane is based here?
Yes, it's based here.
The plane is based here? And,
Yes,
okay.
yes it is.
Can you describe again how the first responders were able to get to the plane?
Okay, Mayor, so that's...
Sure, they basically came up our haul road that we use to work around here and end up going over the area where we placed the field product from that we removed off Keystone Drive earlier, and went out that way and through the woods basically from the bottom.
It's full of briars. It's very rough.
Can you start over again?
Sure. The area is full of briars. It's very rough. We have crews now with chainsaws. They're going to cut the area out so they can get back in to do some other things. But the first thing to do was to get paramedics on the scene. So we saw to it that the Kanawha County paramedics were there, Charleston firefighter paramedics, and certainly our emergency services department. The idea was to see if we could save a life. And it was very heroic. They went in really not being able to see where they were. Part of the problem here was not knowing where the actual crash was. We were able to tell where the crash was, frankly, by smelling the fuel.
I apologize if this has already been asked, but do we know if there's fuel leaking into a creek we had heard?
Yes, there has been a fuel loss, but it doesn't appear to be serious. Out of an abundance of precaution, the airport did the right thing and notified the West Virginia American Water Company. They're aware of it, and they're taking all precautions. We do not anticipate any problem with that.
And you were also saying, because it's so wooded, I think there were ATVs going out, repelling. Can you just talk to us about the tactics used?
Well, this just took manpower. This took people going down over the hill. We had several paramedics, and they went in. The idea was to get the medics in and the firefighters to get to the crash to see if someone was alive, if they could help them, and that's what they did.
We've also notified the West Virginia DEP to come here to inspect the site and to help us try to maintain the scene as far as any fuel. Our goal is not for any fuel to get into the creek, so we have put out pads, absorbent pads and things of that nature and booms to try to stop any fuel from getting to any waterway.
We will reopen the airport as soon as we have permission from the federal government. They have to inspect the runway. They have to approve allowing things to either be taken off the scene or photographed. That's entirely up to them. The airport director will do exactly what they tell him to do. The airport's closed and will stay closed until the federal government allows us to open it up. We hope that will be sooner than later.
We've heard it could be as late as Saturday. Have you heard any word?
I don't think that's true, but we don't know that. That's up to them.
Anything else you are wanting to get out there?
Our goal is to try to get the airport back open today, certainly, and hopefully we can get that accomplished for the traveling public.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We could arrange for y'all to get a little closer, but there's nothing to see there that you can't see from here, to be honest.
Right.
I thought
Okay.
right here on the roof would be better.
Thank you so
Better
much.
off
Yeah,
Have
here.
an opportunity to come inside here.
absolutely.
off here.
Thank you.
And we got some water and stuff
There's no
here for
potty
you.
over there anyway,
Thank
so
you.
you don't want to.
And the restrooms right outside there.
We'll get it one of those porta potties over there.
We really appreciate you guys letting us up here. I mean, the whole time I was out there,
No,
I
I
was
just thought it'd be better to have you over here.